Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be ranking the top 5 godlies in Anime Last Stand. Now, if you've played this game before, then you have a pretty solid idea of what the best godlies are. But I'm going to be giving you guys my specific ranking based on their damage output, their usefulness, just basically all around how good they are. So if you agree or disagree, make sure to drop a comment down below. Like and subscribe if you enjoy, and let's get started. Alright, so before we begin, these are all the current godlies in the game. I have every single godly with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 glitches and 6 avatars. So they're all pretty much glorious and above, except for Freyen. I've not had the same amount of luck I've had with the other godlies. I spent like 40 pearls on her and still haven't gotten any gloriouses. But yeah, I have basically all the godlies already maxed out. Everybody has their own skill tree, and just showing you guys that I do have a pretty good idea of what I'm talking about, because the tier list makers in the ALS Discord have no idea what they're saying. So I don't really go off their tier list. I basically just play the game and figure out what units are good. And yeah, so at number 5, I'm going to be placing Luffy, pretty much solely because of his leader skill. If you highlight over it, it says it automatically slows enemies that enter the map by 15% and causes them to take 5% more damage. So he is a solid unit. He recently got buffed as well, and I only have Avatar on him, so he's not going to do as much damage as the other godlies, but I'm going to showcase him nonetheless. And another thing I noticed is that he's the only godly who has a cutscene. So he has a model like everybody else. So if we view it, just plays a little animation when you obtain him. It looks pretty good. I don't know why they stopped doing this. Alright, so on placement, he's 4K to place. And on placement, currently 2.8 SPA, 4.9 million damage. So he's pretty expensive, you know, but he spawns in with a decent amount of damage, so he's not a starter unit. And then we have Toon Force. He applies hella effects every attack randomly, and then every 120 seconds he enters sleep mode, self stuns. Yeah, just a bunch of damage buffing effects. Y'all can pause to read. Just buffs himself, and then he ignores the stun, so he's immune to stun. So that's pretty good. Every 55 seconds he inflicts daze. So yeah, he's pretty alright. Right here we have Kominori. Then he goes to a circle AoE, doing 420 million every 3.3 seconds, so that's pretty high SPA. I mean, pretty low SPA, pretty high DPS. And then on the final upgrade, he gets the ultimate gun ability, where he's an even larger circle AoE, just slamming down on the enemies. So max DPS is at 614 million every 3.3 seconds. We have no soul on him, and this is only Avatar as well. So glitched, he'd probably be doing around 700, 800 million with even less SPA. So yeah, it's pretty solid. He does insane DPS, but the main reason I have him at number 5 is this leader skill, because the ability to slow down enemies as well as increase their damage taken is just really good and really useful in a lot of stages. So first we have this ultimate gun ability, so it does 500 billion and 75% of his total damage dealt. Then inflicts crippled and just buffs more of his passive. So yeah, just a great ability to use. I mean, it's a nuke, but it's not too strong of a nuke, because we have way better ones that do trillions of damage. But yeah, overall it's a pretty solid godly unit. And number 5. At number 4, I selected Sunjin. I mean, he recently got buffed as well. His leader skill right here, as you can see, it says plus 15% damage to all summons, spawns, and clones. So it's pretty mid leader skill, so he's not good for that. What edges him above Luffy for me in number 4 is his ability. So he has tons of passives, especially this system passive, which we're going to be showcasing, and a shadow index. So 2.5k to place. When you place him, he gets this system ability right here, and it basically opens a whole UI, and then every kill he gets ability points, which you can use to upgrade his strength, agility. So his SPA, his damage, his mana, and his range. I don't know why you would upgrade mana. I think this is for summoning his clones or his shadows. But yeah, and then you can rebirth once you've used all your ability points. So for example, I can max out his strength, and then mana, I guess, and then rebirth. And then the more kills you get, it just levels up over and over and over again. So that's a cool little ability. I mean, he spawns in with 3.5 million, but you can always upgrade him. And then his current passives are system, like we just saw, and then the leveling, rebirths at 0, 1, 2, and 3. And what else? He has a mana bar, which he can summon his clones or his spawns or whatever. He applies fear every 50 seconds, inflicts mutilate with each passive proc, and he can arise an enemy and summon them as a summoning, as you can see right there. So pretty good, pretty decent. The main thing is his system ability though, and because of this ability, it takes a while to like rack up the ability points, and then you have to like keep clicking it. It's just annoying, really. Like, he's a great unit to have for like stages like infinite mode, boss events. If you're grinding manually, he's a great unit to have, but if you're macroing the game, most of the time you're not going to use him, so that's why he's only number 4. But he's just above Luffy because of his insane DPS, which I'm going to be showcasing. Like right now, he's on 1.1. He has SPA as 1.13. Like what? And we still haven't upgraded this to the max. So another rebirth. And we have one more to go. Alright, final rebirth. Okay, we're fully maxed out. And it took 40 to 44 waves. So you can see why he's not that good, why he's not higher on this list. It just takes a while to get him built up. So once you've maxed him out, go back to the system, and then we can like max out his strength. Clicker simulator, bro. Gosh. And I guess you would max out his agility as well, but you can't max out both. You can see here, you can only use 100 ability points, so you can spread it out, but you wouldn't put points in range or mana. I mean, you can mainly just max out his strength, which is his damage, and his SPA. So both are maxed out. We can't rebirth any further. And upgrade 1, currently doing 5.65 million damage every 1 second, so that's pretty good. If we upgrade him to his next ability, which is Shadow Commander, so currently doing a small circle AoE. If we upgrade that, boom, now he's doing 205 every 1.81 seconds, which is pretty crazy. Then his range increased by a lot, even though we didn't upgrade any of his range stats in the system. And now he's unlocked the Shadow Index, where he can summon any one of his shadows right here, and it drains the mana like we saw before. So I think the strongest one will be the Shadow General. So we just think it summons a whole nother unit. Boom, it's not upgradable. So he spawns him in maxed out. 88.4 million every 1.7 SPA. So I think this scales off of his system. So it's pretty cool. And then the next upgrade would be Monarch Dash. So he just dashes to the enemies, doing 616 every 2.2 seconds. Pretty good. The final one, Cup of Rebirth, 873 every, like, wow. Like, his DPS is insane. And then he gains an ability, instantly kills all enemies on the map, time stop for 60 seconds, and it destroys the unit. What? Sets cash to 0. Okay. It might include all bosses, so I mean, I guess that makes sense. So he'd be really good for tournaments as well. So number 3 on the list is going to be Gilgamesh, another light godly, and he was the best unit in the game for a pretty decent amount of time. But yeah, we can see his leader skill, which buffs allies based on their element. So light gets minus 10% SPA, water more elemental penetration, fire more DOT, nature more range, and dark more damage. So yeah, alright, so on placement he costs 5k to place, and he does spawn with these, and Kodo, I don't know who she is, but she does spawn with him. So they both, it's like a 2-in-1 unit. And he spawns with a decent amount of passives, like, holy, that's a lot. But he basically has every passive in the game, and then he can stun enemies for 10 seconds. So if you look at the enemies right here, once they enter his range, they're like stunned. Not even his range, look, he's just stunned automatically. I don't know what passive is doing that, but he does 140% more damage to advantageous elements. So if the enemies are dark, he's going to be doing way more damage. And yeah, that's on spawn. I mean, you can read all these passives. Every 5 treasure pools, the next attack will inflict rupture, dealing 5 times more damage. Just a lot, really. And then his partner, right there. When a boss enemy enters this unit's range, it gets stuns for 30 seconds. 60-second cooldown per boss, so it's not too overpowered. And then after a boss has been in this range, it walks backwards for 10 seconds. Like what? So like, you see the boss right here, stunned, and they can just finish it off. So he's really good for bosses, really good for tourneys, really good for event stages, boss rushes, things like that. And just more passives. And she gets, of course, she has the random ability effect. Crazy. And yeah, so his attack, what makes him number 3 for me is his leader skill. So his leader skill basically buffs dark units and buffs light units tremendously, which are the top 2 best elements in the game. So he's already on par, if not better than Luffy. in that aspect. And then his DPS is just insane. So we have no soul on him, as you can see right now. If we go to his first new ability, we have Blade Works. So he's at 175 million every 2.6 seconds. Boom, just shoots out a bunch of swords. Pretty iconic attack in the anime if y'all seen it. And yeah, 2.66 SPA, so nothing too crazy. And he still has his partner that's unupgraded, so I'm gonna max her out real quick. First upgrade, Light Bane attack, so 127 million every 2 seconds. You know, pretty decent SPA. And then if we max her out, 235 million every 2.7 seconds. So, and then she gains this ability, Anomo Aweless Bloom. So she buffs the whole team, especially Gilgamesh. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he has a passive to match hers as well. And then she keeps her other passive. So she's pretty decent. Loving this random effect ability as well. It makes it so that enemies can get frozen. They can basically do anything as long as she's in the range. So if you study the enemies, like boom, we have the flame effect, the soaked effect, what else? Frozen effect. It's crazy. And if we go back to Gilgamesh, next ability upgrade, 964 every 6.22 seconds. And as you can see right here, Idol's not turned on, Boma has not been turned on, boom. So it's crazy, 964 every 6 seconds. And then the last ability upgrade, we are at 1.09 billion every 6.22 seconds. So Sunjin Woo does do more DPS than him, but his abilities, as well as paired up with her, he just shreds any and every boss in the game, pretty much. So we have the combined Anomo Aweless, deals 1,000 times his current damage, time stops for 30 seconds, crazy work. And then his passives are just insane. Does he get any new ones? Nope. Well, I think he does. Well, nah, just the active ability. So we have this one, 5 billion, and it can go up to 7 billion, and then we have 1,000 times, no, 10,000 times his current damage. It's insane. So yeah, pretty decent unit to have. And number 3 on the list. At number 2, of course, is going to be Ichigo. I'm going to take off this Soul of Brute Force on him. Unequip, boom. So yeah, it doesn't come as a surprise to y'all. I mean, if you play this game, you know just how good this unit is. In every single macro video you watch, Ichigo is a unit that you must have. I don't know. I don't know why they made a unit this good. He's not even broken. He's just a must-have unit. Like, his cost, his DPS, everything just adds up. So as you can see right here, we have him glitched and glorious. And his leader skill is not even good. It just cancels all elemental disadvantages, so it's not even good. I'm just gonna show y'all, showcase him real quick. Show y'all just why he's the second best, if not the best. Like, if you put him at number 1, I wouldn't even be mad at you. He is that good of a unit. I'm not even trolling. This guy used to be the worst godly in the game until they buffed him, and now he's just insane. Alright, so on placement, 700 to place. As of now, the cheapest godly in the game, I'm pretty sure. So he's a great starter unit to have. He does 4.4 million every 2 seconds on placement. And then he starts off with the passives. Passives, every attack, he gains 2 mastery up to 100. So that's this mastery bar over here. He unlocks Shinigami, Hollow, and Quincy at different mastery intervals. So basically just buffing his damage. And then we have every 5 attacks, more damage. And then we have the ability, which is Kai Release. So he buffs his damage by 0.25, multiplied by the mastery count, and reduces his SPA by 0.15, multiplied by mastery count, for 30 seconds. And he gains a 20% chance to deal 2 times damage on attacks during the 30-second interval. So he's a pretty basic unit. As you can see, no extra units spawn with him. He is 850k to max out, so he's cheap overall. And he is hybrid on placement. And yeah, alright, so first ability, Crescent Moon Dash at 40k. He's at 223 million every 3 seconds. Not AoE, but he covers a pretty decent distance. You know, the next upgrade, 261, 559 every 4.59 seconds. And if we max him out, he does 1 billion every 4.59 seconds. So he's nothing really special about him, really. He's just his SPA, his cost, he's so cost efficient, and his DPS just insane. Then if you try on Kai Release, buffs his damage. Now he's at 1.21 billion every 3.81 seconds. Just insane. So he's on par with Gilgamesh damage wise. No, I'm pretty sure he's better than Gilgamesh because he has around the same amount of damage with less SPA. So yeah, he's better than Gilgamesh for sure. And then he's way cheaper than him as well. So And we can do a side-by-side comparison. So if I place Gilga right there, max him out, we have a 56 every 7.62 seconds, while Ichigo is at 1.21 billion. And these are active abilities, so we can't really use them. We max out his partner. I don't know why his damage is increased. Oh, noble special. I forgot about that. So I'll wait till this is fully maxed out, and then we'll compare the DPS. So 1.09 billion every 7 seconds. Then we have Ichigo 1.06 billion every 4.6 seconds. So yeah, definitely the best godly, or second best godly overall. Only topped, in my opinion, by this next one. Alright, so finally for my number 1 godly in the game, I'm gonna have Freyen. Yup, the latest godly that just released. Where's she at? Alright, she's right there. So I currently don't have Glorious on her because I was unlucky, but she's still the best godly in the game in my opinion. Nature godly, air unit, and yeah, we're gonna be showcasing her. So one of the reasons is of course because of her cost. She's 750, while Ichigo, my second best unit, is 700 to place. So they're both really cost efficient, and they can be used for lots of macros in the game, and pretty much every progressive, every difficult stage, she will carry you in. And then we have her leader skill, which says for every magic subtype unit, Freyen gains plus 5% range and 2.5% damage. And each magic subtype unit equipped gets plus 10% range and 5% damage. So she basically buffs every magic unit in your loadout. Alright, so on placement 750, like I said before. Keep in mind I don't have Glorious on her, so she's getting nerfed exponentially, because if you place Gilga, Glorious does buff your damage by 45%, and it reduces your SPA by a little bit. So just keep that in mind. She should be doing more damage than she currently is. And how do I sell this guy? Boom. Alright, so 750 to place. On placement 1.5 million every 3 seconds, so not too much. And it's a straight line attack. And she is an air unit, so yeah. We have the Mage Staff ability, which on pawn placement, this unit starts with only the fire spell, and each upgrade grants a new spell. And then you can choose one of the available spells for plus 10% damage. And yeah, just a mid ability overall. But what makes her really special is her passive. So we have the Mage Staff and then Flower Field, buffing all units in range with their damage and their range. Deals 50% more damage when attacking a boss. Petrifies enemies every 5th attack. Falcon Pulse to read. Reduces the cooldown of spells by 2 seconds until death. Crazy. And then when an enemy enters 40% of the unit's range, it rewinds them 10 seconds back. So we can look at this right here. Where is it? So the enemy should be getting they should be walking backwards. Or is she killing them too fast? I see the boss got petrified. I don't know why they're not walking backwards. Yep, there it is. So when they get too close, they just start walking back. So does that passive have a limit or what? Rewind them 10 seconds back once per enemy. Okay. And then it applies Petrify. The enemy re-enters 20% of the range. It can apply Extinguish. 50% more damage if it's a boss or a mini boss. So pretty decent passives. You know, she's a magic subtype, and every upgrade she does get a new ability. So the fire spell does 100% damage and applies burn in range. Click on that. We should see the enemies burning. Boom. You see that right there? Okay. Alright, so the first ability upgrade, we get Destructive Lightning, Circle AoE, and it is Destructive Lightning as it says. So 256 million every 4.2 seconds. Do we gain any new passives? No, we do not. And we should gain all 5 abilities. So we have Water, Nature, Dark, and Light. Water, 100% damage soaked in range. Wind, Shear, and Bleed. Fear, Bolt, and Electrified. So why does the Light one do 50% damage while the others do 100? They all have the same cooldown as well. So I don't know how these spells would help you in an actual difficult fight. I mean, I guess it applies passive effects or ability effects to the units, making them easier to kill maybe. Anyway, next upgrade we get the Mastered Zeltrak. Boom, where we get these abilities. So 0.5 times damage multiplied by the current number of enemies in range. Okay, And if a boss is in range, it applies Electrified off the multiplier and a damage multiplier with a cap of 5 times. So more damage boosts. She's underwhelming so far. 398 million every 4.2 seconds. So next upgrade, Hellfire, 960 million over. Alright, so this is where we get big. She starts Circle AoE, spawning Hellfire on the enemies. We keep the same abilities. And like every spell has a 60-second cooldown. Next upgrade, Ancient Golem. This one's the crazy one. You can spawn a golem, which, where's it? If wave 49 and below, just the more waves go by, the higher the golem has HP. So it has golem HP equals current damage multiplied by kills, multiplied by waves passed, multiplied by 500. So I'm sure y'all have seen the videos where her golem had like trillions or quadrillions of HP. I'm going to be testing that out right here and showing y'all what we can get it to. So that is golem HP equals current damage multiplied by total kills, multiplied by waves passed, multiplied by 500. Insane. Okay. And then the final upgrade, which is 1 million, she goes to 1.05 billion every 6.64 seconds. So Ichigo still does more DPS than her, but all her passives as well as all her active abilities just slightly edge her above him for me. I mean, I think they might be interchangeable. Like she might be 2, Ichigo might be 1, or Ichigo might be 2 and she might be 1. But keep in mind, this is without the glorious enchant. Now, if she did have the glorious enchant, this would be way higher, this would be way lower. So she does do more DPS than Ichigo. So just keep that in mind. We have the black hole effect, which is a nuke that does 7.5 trillion damage, time stops for 30 seconds, and rewinds enemies once the time stop has ended. So probably the best nuke out of all the godlies, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Sukuna has one that rivals this, maybe. But yeah, she's a great unit to have. Probably a must-have unit, honestly, and definitely the best nature godly in the game. So yeah, I'm going to be testing out this Ancient Golem. So let's test that. We go to ChatGPT. We'll do 1.4 billion times 102, which is the waves, times her kills, which was what, 2,000. We'll just say 1.99 to be accurate. 1.99 thousand multiplied by what? We've done damage, kills, waves passed, multiplied by 500. So that's 4. Hit enter. And then let's make sure we're not losing. All right, we're good so far. So, okay, so that's 142 million, billion, trillion, whatever that number is. So we'll see if it's accurate. All right, let's spawn the clone real quick. All right, first we're gonna use all these abilities, buff the damage as much as possible. We use this, we'll use this, use another one. All right, Ancient Golem, boom. It's only at 821 trillion, so I don't know what I did wrong, but you can definitely buff it. I've seen it at like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quadrillions. So if you could somehow do this in tournament, nah, you can't, it's not possible. Because the ability did say it had to be wave 50 and above. So yeah, she's number 2, number 1 best godlies in the game. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you agree or disagree with my tier list. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.